right, so Lenny Kravitz' daughter, Zoe, is now directing movies.
Yeah, I expected her to see in the film, but we didn't see her in the film.
Yeah, well, kind of doing like maybe she's going to do like Alfred Hitchcock. Maybe she's in the background.
We might have missed it.
We're going to talk about her directorial debut with Channing Tatum. It's Blink Twice.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Blink Twice if you're enjoying. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Goethe from GoatFilmReviews.com.
It took me right there, that Blink Twice kind of reference if you're in danger. I've been recognized.
It's a good title.
It's a good title, right, yeah. Other than the original title, look what the original title was. I'm Nick from the St. Paul Filmcast. Thanks for finding us, thanks for watching, and for our loyal fans, thank you sincerely for continuing to support the show. Hey, another way you can support the show, join the Patreon. We got some great deals, great opportunities, and of course, an opportunity for you to tell us what movies we review for a future episode, with, of course, a shout-out to you as well. Kyle and I, you know, we're members of the Minnesota Film Critics Alliance. Checked out the webpage for critics reviews, as well as in ours, and today we're talking about Blink Twice.
So when Frida and her friend are invited to the private island of tech billionaire Slater King, she accepts. But as the days and nights continue, something's not quite right on the island. And the girls are having fun, but also not.
This is kind of a story originally. I think the refreshing idea is I think I'm getting a lot of the Epstein Island vibes from this.
Yeah,
and the inspiration.
Well, there's all. I mean, like you get the sense that there's like an Elon Musk-ness. I mean, you can see a lot of the tech billionaires just squeezed into Slater King. None of them as good looking as Channing Tatum.
But also got a Glass Onion is the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
right? You go on an island. We have an island of the zombies. So island's a good kind of a structure of having something where you're trapped on it. And with Christie's, one of her popular movies is stories is people trapped, billionaires, rich people trapped on an island, dying one by one. So it's a nice trap setting, especially if you want to do a little bit lush.
Yeah. It's almost like, you can make the joke like I wrote this movie so I could film a movie on an island. But you also have it's that ability to get people unaware that they're in danger. I like that this film is consistently telling you, like, there was a line I think Adria Arjona says in the film where she says, "What the were we thinking?" And at the same time, you're like, yeah, that's so stupid that you would go to this place. But at the same time, you would too.
Yeah, it's almost the same kind of template as a reference like Barbarian, where the lead protagonist, the female we follow, breaks every rule of protocol with traveling alone. You don't go in a house with strangers, right?
Yep.
And this kind of is a premise of movies do this. You have this, don't do this. It feels dangerous, even though it's highly seductive. I do like it's kind of very pulpy. It dances around the pulp, but it's not a pulp film overall. Kind of the names, kind of the characters. You have this very lavish kind of style that you post as an audience supposed to get jealous for. You're like, I wish I could be there.
Yeah, it lulls you into thinking like things are going to be okay and I'd like to be a part of it until you realize, no, I would not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, if Channing Tatum comes up to me at a party and says, "You want to hang out on my private island?" I say, "Yeah, I'm going."
Yes. So I do like the premise. We kind of absorbed a lot of stuff with the premise. I like the structure of it. It feels very 70s. Very, like kind of a 70s psychological thriller. This is kind of a psychological thriller because the whole thing, you feel like you're not getting enough information to make your own judgment until the very end.
Yeah, it does. I would say it keeps a lot of items under the surface in the sense that I think if you're streaming this movie, for example, I think it might push you to getting frustrated. Like, the pausing, I'm going to watch it later. But I would venture, I guess, I would say this is a great movie to see in a theater because it's fun, but then it also becomes not fun after a while. And I think those thrills would be really fun in a closed setting where you can't have your phone with you and where you're surrounded by other people experiencing the same movie. I think that's where this one is going to be at its best.
Yeah, and I do like the setup. I think it looks like they enjoy themselves filming it. The party sense. I do like Zoe's actually picks for music. I know her dad does music, but the selection of music, I want to know if she consulted her dad, or she just kind of knew on her own.
Yeah,
what kind of music.
It's a good combination. It's music that doesn't inherently fit together if you smashed it into a playlist, but it fits the scene. I think she has a wonderful mastery of tone in this movie, in that the scenes that are supposed to be comedic are comedic, the scenes that are supposed to be tense are tense. She gets every tone, and yet the same thing, they'll go from a funny scene to a frightening scene with that quick switch of the dial, and you don't feel that change, which is something that's very tough to do.
Yeah, especially with sound too, of people eating doesn't feel comfortable, relaxed. It's like, kind of gross. But right, I think she captured tone very well. I think she captured theme very well. Overall, the story, I think, has certain things that, like, we can speed it up a little bit. But once we get to where we think we're going to go at the end, it goes hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I thought the pace was really good on the film because it does kind of just give you enough to get you kind of like, I don't want to say frustrated in a bad way, frustrated in a good way, where you're like, what is going on? You get like really kind of frustrated with it. And right at the moment where like you need to, they give you that reveal. And then from there, it's boom, boom, boom. Scenes after scene after scene of just like, what happens next? What happens next? And I think at the point of the film where you start to figure out what's happening, she doesn't let up on the gas. She keeps pushing. And I think that's a really good thing too, because movies that have this whole you've got to see it in the theater to figure out what happens, they always end up underwhelming me when you learn the secrets. And I felt like this was complete opposite. I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. Show me more,
Right. And it's interesting for the right cast of people that lulls you into a sense of safety with Haley Joel Osment, Christian Slater, and Channing Tatum. You have characters that lull you into a sense of safety. Heck, even now, if they go, those three guys will come to an island with us, hell yeah!
Yeah. Simon Rex is a blast. I'd go hang out with him. Gina Davis wants my phone. Sure, you can have it.
Yeah.
What a weird cast. I mean, just take a second and think about, would you ever expect these like 10 people to be in a movie together?
And, the funny thing is Gina Davis has like intelligence, genius, IQ. And she's playing this character that's complete opposite of it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I like that she's been embracing her genre roots recently. She actually was in the Exorcist TV show that was on Fox for a season.
No kidding.
And she played the main mother
true?
of the exorcised possessed person. And I think she was phenomenal in that. But it's like Gina Davis doing horror. Give me more of that. She kind of danced around it in the 80s with things like The Fly, and then she was absent from it for a while. I would like to see her maybe work with Rennie Harlan on one of the Strangers films or something.
Yeah, it has very definitely a retro style to it. I had a very much a 70s horror psychological thriller sense to it. I don't know if it's just the environment. They get rid of the technology, but it has that kind of a sense and kind of shot that way. I would like to see a little more pre-production notice from Zoe of how they came about this. But I'm giving it a solid. It's a great movie. It's not terrible. It's not the fantastic movie of the year, but it's a really enjoying. And I like psychological thrillers, and I do like the roller coaster it gave me.
Yeah, I mean, I think to myself, much like with Alien Romulus, where it's like, I'm so excited for you to see this movie. Like, I want everyone to see this movie because I want to discuss all of it with as many people as I can and see all these different versions, because the movie does feel like, to me, I was thinking Saltburn by way of Get Out, and all the characters are from Bodies, 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 where they're all using that kind of like newer slang, newer lingo, and we're finding ourselves in a dangerous place. This is the movie I was kind of hoping Saltburn would be. I've seen Saltburn a few times now, and my appreciation for the film has kind of lessened every time I've watched it. This is a movie I feel like it's going to be the opposite, where I feel like I'm going to appreciate it more rewatching it, seeing the things I missed in the first half of the film.
Right, yeah. So I'm giving it a solid recommendation. If you enjoy psychological thrillers, there's a little bit of bumps of first-time directing clumsiness to it that kind of, I think Zoe kind of can iron out, and I appreciate it. Yeah,
there's a couple
It's a big risk to do kind of a movie like this for your first time out.
It's pretty bombastic, absolutely, and especially because you think to yourself when a actor becomes a director, this is the folly a lot of them do on their first time out, is they focus so heavily on the performances that they kind of miss the other movie portions. Like they stick with what they know. It's the same thing when you have a cinematographer making their first movie as director. You tend to see gorgeous shots. Sometimes you'll see misses in terms of other elements, but I think she captures a lot of the filmmaking aspects really nicely, and I would like to see what she's going to accomplish next.
Yeah, the cuts of like psychologically what's happening and don't really mesh, and all of a sudden why are we doing this very much reminds me of Girl Interrupted with Winona Ryder and Angelica Jolie, kind of that kind of template. So we're giving a recommendation, but what do you think? Keep the conversation going.
Yeah, let us know down in the comment section what you thought about the film. Share your experiences if you were in a theater, if you watched it at home. I'd like to know if I feel like there might be different takes depending on where you watch it and when, and of course walking into it if you know anything or not. But thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Kyle and Nick on Film. You can find all of my film reviews over at goatfilmreviews.com.
You can find my show, St. Paul Filmcast, anywhere to find podcasts. Not on Island.
Oh, gosh, no.